winners? Let the pros show you how to make money. General Manager Al DeMarco, a regular contributor on Fox Sports, MSNBC, and Comcast Sports TV, brings over 25 years of handicapping experience to the table. CEO Steve Budin, the author of Bets, Drugs, and Rock and Roll, is the man responsible for creating the online betting industry. Together, they lead PickNation.com, your #1 source for winners.
Mondays are going to the dogs in the NFL. Guys, the underdog 5 straight covers on Monday Night Football. And of course, last Monday, if you were in any sports book here in Vegas, guys, you were either cheering or jeering, because when the Lions scored with 30 seconds left to go in that game to get the backdoor cover, that hurt. If you happen to be on the Bears like I was, if you happen to be on the Lions like Anthony Red was here at the site, and my gosh, A-Red, please stop harassing me with that winner. I mean, talk about teasing and taunting me.
Can't live in the past, buddy. You can't live in the past.
I mean, but this is why they call it gambling. And it's another reason why you have to watch these games till the very end, because let's face it, it was a boring game unless you were a Bears fan, unless you were a Lions fan, and that's a dwindling population, by the way, with the way this season has gone, or unless you were a fan of defense. The only reason to watch that game otherwise was to see whether or not the Bears could cover the 6.5-point number, and they didn't.
Yeah, there's an old saying when I was growing up in the gambling business, and that was to take the home team underdog on Monday night. That's the scenario we had here. That worked in the 80s, Al. Doesn't really work anymore. I think the odds makers have pretty much caught up to that one.
Hi guys, Al DeMarco here along with Steve Budin. This is the Monday night edition of the Countdown to Kickoff program here on FoxSports.com, where we've been joining you for the past 6 years, breaking down your top college and pro games from a point spread perspective. I'm a former reporter, spent 8 years covering teams and players, 25 years since then as a professional handicapper, and my experience as a reporter really has shaped my handicapping philosophy. Steve, on the other hand, a former bookmaker, the guy who gave birth literally to what you now know as the offshore sports book betting industry. So we really have two different perspectives of every single game we talk about.
Yeah, I did give birth to that industry. I've got the stretch marks to prove it.
You really look good, though.
No, thank
the
you,
maternity clothes,
I appreciate that. Al's the professional gambler. I, on the other hand, was the former largest bookmaker in the world. We come from opposite sides of the tracks, but we share a lot of betting philosophies. One of them is that you don't spread your money out on making, more bets than you have to. Another is you don't bet big lottery-style parlays. You find that one game on the board, you use your professional opinion. I have an opinion too. I was 6-3 on the show last weekend, but when it comes to laying my money down on the line and taking a risk for my hard-earned money, I go to my access, to the crews, to the professional bettors and the syndicates that I have access to. I find that game and I bang it out.
Hey, and listen, in coming into tonight's contest here with Arizona and San Francisco, you've got two teams that really, the jury is out on them. I mean, 3 weeks ago, we were ready to coronate the 49ers as the next Super Bowl champions. And then suddenly, they got outplayed and humiliated at home by the New York Giants. And then they struggled on Thursday night, 4 nights later, against the Seattle Seahawks team that really hasn't done much offensively on the road all season. You've got an Arizona team that opened up like gangbusters, pulling off the upset of the Patriots in New England, now suddenly with 3 straight losses. And you've got a 7-point number, which I think is a real interesting number set on this contest, because it just begs you to take Arizona, and yet you know that the public perception is, oh, the 49ers are the better team. But they haven't played like the better team here of late.
Right. Well, Jim Harbaugh declined to go for the safety last week against Seattle. Now, that was bad for a lot of gamblers. It was good for Best Buy because a lot of people kicked their televisions in and needed a new one the next day. But I want to go back to what you said. Public perception, because it's so very important. A lot of people think that every bookmaker have a little Chinese guy in the back room that crunches the numbers to make the lines. It doesn't happen that way. The lines are just a mirror of public perception. Now, the public perception is that both of these teams are dominated by defense. You have San Francisco, possibly the most physical defense, one of the best defenses in the league. You have Arizona, I've often called them an opportunistic defense, but either way you look at it, both of these teams are defensive-minded. They had Kevin Kevin Cobb. They went to
John Skelton.
John Skelton. It doesn't matter. They could put you in there. They could put me in there. They can't protect the quarterback. 7 more sacks last week, 35 sacks for the season. Very hard to complete passes and score points when your quarterback is laying on his back. But I think something different here. I think because public perception has caught up to this game, we're seeing it open up at a line of 37 for the total. It's very, very low. I want to use that public perception against the bookmaker this time and go over the 37 total.
I am wholeheartedly agreeing with you here. Listen, I know the 49ers have struggled offensively here the last few weeks, but this team still can put points on the board. I mean, okay, granted, Alex Smith this season has 9 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions, 3 fumbles. Put him in with Michael Vick and Phillip Rivers as turnover machines, but he struggled here lately because Frank Gore hasn't been able to really crank out consistent yards, and that has certainly hurt. He did have a good game against that tough Seattle defense, however, and I look at this Arizona secondary, very, very strong. That's the strength of this team. So Smith is going to be challenged. At the same time, however, I look at John Skelton, and, you know, Kevin Cobb may have gotten off to a good start for them this year, but the fact is Skelton has actually played pretty well. And last week, out of the blue, even though their top 2 running backs are out with injuries, the Cardinals ran for 126 yards and 26 carries in a 21-14 loss at Minnesota. That was an impressive loss. I know that sounds bizarre, but they hung in there. They gave a very good Vikings team in Minnesota all they can handle. So I lean a little toward the dog, but I'm looking at this number as well. This is not going to be another one of these Monday night games like we had last week with the Bears and the Lions where points are at a premium. This is a joke of a number in terms of the total.
And both of these teams can score on defense as well as offense, and defense oftentimes sets up field position, which makes it easy to score. I think that's the case here. I think this 37 number, way too low, and it's obvious, like I said earlier, the gamblers have caught up to the fact that both of these teams are unders. And now, I never use statistics, you know, to explain why I go for a play. Both of these teams, but I will use statistics to explain how a line got to be where it is. Both of these teams have done very well with the under. One team, San Francisco, 5-2, Arizona 6-1, both against the under. That's not a reason to play the under. That's a reason to understand why this total is so low, and why you should play the over.
Hey guys, and listen, you know, stats and trends, Steve just touched on it briefly. You know, for every positive trend you can give me to back one team, I swear to goodness I can find you 2 to support the other side. That's the way it is. You'll hear a lot coming into this game that, you know, San Francisco's 22-11 against the spread on the Monday night road over the years. Yeah, but it wasn't Alex Smith quarterbacking with Steve Young and Joe Montana. Little bit of a difference here. And remember, Arizona pulled the upset at home last year against these 49ers. So I lean a little toward Arizona. Hey, could the dog possibly cover on Monday Night Football for a 6th straight week? But I agree with you. I think the the total was the way to go in this particular contest. 37.5 is just too low of a price. So go help and take this one over the posted price. Steve, let us just remind everybody that they can get my play tonight and the plays of all the handicappers at the site tonight for free. No strings attached, using the 1-day free all-access pass.
This is a great system that we have. You go right to picknation.com. You'll see a big yellow ad right on top of the site with everybody's picture on it. It says all-access pass, and what that is, that's our way of showing you the goods before you have to reach in and grab your credit card and pay for anything. We do it because we want to pull back the curtain, show everybody what we have so they're comfortable. Obviously, Al, we're overcoming a lot of obstacles. This business started in the 80s and 90s with guys on the telephone screaming how they're going to beat your man. That isn't us. We're the opposite of that. This is the best way to show everybody by giving them everything for free so they can see what we do.
I mean, Mondays in the old days, you couldn't turn on the radio or turn on TV without having some cartoon character screaming, "Get it, I've got inside information, it's absolutely free, blah, blah, blah." All cons, all scam artists. Listen, what you see is what you get at picknation.com. You're going to get all our plays, $400 or $500 worth of action today for free. All the plays from all the handicappers, all their analysis, simply by using the 1-day all-access pass. We are the only people in the industry to do it because nobody else would have the balls to do it, to put it quite bluntly.
Well said.
So, guys, check it out. And plus, you can catch my daily video report every single day over at picknation.com, where I break down the games, give you free picks, 8-2 free pick run coming into the weekend, and money-saving discount coupon codes and free promotions as well. That's all over at picknation.com. No purchase necessary, no registration required. So last week we scored together with the under. This week we're going to hopefully score together with the over in this contest tonight. Good luck, everybody. Remember, catch us again next weekend here on foxsports.com as we continue to march through this season with the Countdown to Kickoff program.